Hey YouTube, what's up? Jeff Small with Small Talk TV here, and this is going to be my first video. Today I was going to talk about marijuana and how it's played a big part of my life, how it's influenced my decisions and my views on it. And I'm going to break this video into three parts. My history with weed, why I decided to quit, and how my first day was, and an update on my first day. Alright, let's get this video started. So I started smoking about a year and a half ago. And it started off as just a casual thing that I would do with my friends on the weekends, and it just was nothing, not a big deal. But as I kept smoking, I kept doing it more. Um, it turned into a regular thing that I would do on the weekends. And then I got caught. And when I got caught, I quit for about a month or two, and I continued with it. And then I got caught again, and I just continued smoking. And I got stuck in this constant cycle of being grounded. When I say caught, I don't mean by the cops. I mean by my parents. They don't allow me to smoke, but I ended up getting into a constant cycle of um, getting caught and then continuing smoking, getting free for like a week and getting caught. And this continued for about a year. And as it went on, I ended up smoking every day, and then I got to a point where I was doing it like 5 times a day, even more sometimes, or actually probably 5 times is probably about the top, but I was doing it every day for a while, and I just kept getting in more trouble and more trouble, and my parents kept taking more things away, and I didn't really care at the time, but that pretty much ended about a month ago. That's when I kind of realized that I needed to stop and I had a problem with it. And that's really when I started to identify the problem, because before I never really thought about it as a problem. I thought about it as something that I would do for fun, and I didn't really see it as addictive because it isn't addictive only if you have an addictive personality. Um, I just saw it as something fun to do at first, and then I realized like, okay, I wake up and I'm feeling shitty, and then I smoke and I feel okay. It was kind of like I was returning to a normal state rather than getting high, it felt like. And my normal state was being high, and I was doing everything when I was high. I was doing everything at a point. But I recently got caught like 3 weeks ago smoking in my bathroom, and I didn't stop. So I got caught again smoking in my bathroom. And as time went on, it ended up being harder and harder to smoke. Like, I would have to jump through hoops to do it. I'd have to be passing drug tests. I would be sneaking out at night and just doing pointless shit with friends. Just, smoking and hanging out, doing really nothing. Like, not that much. There wasn't much to do. And I kind of realized that. And it kind of got to a point where my lifestyle was kind of revolving around it because because I was grounded, I would sleep for most of the day, or not most of the day. I would go to bed really early and wake up at like 12. Like I had my whole sleep schedule based on it. I'd wake up at 12 or like 1 every day, like right when my parents went to sleep. And I'd get out on my bike and ride to my friend's house and hang out, smoke. And it was fun. It was fun, but it got to a point where it seemed pointless and it was getting repetitive. And when the school year started, yeah, it was mostly I would do it alone. And that's when it really started feeling shitty. Like, it felt shitty with friends, but then once I started doing it alone, and primarily alone, like, I wouldn't do it with friends that much. I do it with friends like once a week, but I'd be smoking like every day, a couple times a day. That's when it started getting depressing, and that's when it started being kind of a burden and kind of a problem, was when I started doing it alone. And I just got caught in this constant cynical cycle. I wasn't really depressed, but it was definitely depressing, and it is depressing being grounded. Um, Being grounded sucks. And another thing I wanted to say is that I think my parents took the wrong approach with it. If there are any parents out there that want their kid to smoke or to stop smoking, I don't suggest you just tell him just stop and like ground him and stuff, because that really doesn't work with people, especially with people like me. That it just made the problem a lot worse, because it ended up I was caught in a cycle where I would just smoke and be grounded at the same time, and I wouldn't really care that I was grounded because I'd be high all the time. And it really got worse as I was getting grounded. So um, don't do that. That's a bad approach to it. You know, talk to them about it. Do something else. Just don't ground them like my parents did, because it didn't help. You know, I'm not doing it because I'm getting grounded. I mean, I guess I am, because I'm just sick of this shit. But like, it didn't help at all. Like, it would have been a lot better if they talked. If they gave me more of like a lesson, like made it into a lesson instead of like just punishment. You know, that's just not the way you should handle anything, really. But especially with something like this, because the main reason I would smoke is because I would be bored, and being grounded is so boring and so shitty. Like, I hated it. I've been grounded for so long. I still am grounded. You know, it's winter break, so I can just kind of relax a little. I can't really hang out with friends, but I can do some things, like some fun things like snowboarding and stuff. So it's not that bad. In the school year, it's easy because I'm focused on working out in school and stuff like that. So it's not that bad. But um, yeah, being grounded sucks, and that's not the way to fix a problem like that. All right, on to the next part of the video. I decided to stop smoking because for a few reasons, but the main reason is being grounded all the time, I guess, kind of sucks, and I'm tired of it, and it's depressing to smoke for me. It's just kind of something that it was more of a habit more than like something that I would look forward to. I would just do it, you know. I wouldn't really enjoy it that much, and it was just something that I would do, and it would I guess I used it as kind of like a emotional safety net. Like, if I ever got pissed off, just go smoke a bowl. If I ever got anything, just go smoke a bowl. And if I got sad, you know, mad, anything, I would just go smoke. And that was my fix to everything. And I'm realizing that that was the worst way to go about it. You know, if you're smoking and you enjoy smoking, and you came to this video just because you're one of those fucking angry potheads that likes to argue with people, because I know I was an angry pothead that liked to argue with people about it. And I was definitely like that. You know, I would argue with a bunch of people that were against it. You know, like, oh, you should do it. Like, why do you hate it so much? You know, I was always trying to start arguments, and I bet about a fourth of you guys that are here right now are one of those people, just looking and writing down little points that you can get me on, which is fine. I'm okay with that. I'm not going to argue with you, but I know you guys stick up for what you believe in, and I respect that. But um, I know there's a lot of people out there that like to go through stuff like this, because I've seen it. I've seen comments on videos like this, you know, just bashing and stuff like that. But um, it's definitely possible to use it without using it as an emotional safety net. But you just have to be careful. You have to monitor. You have to have some self control. Like, if you're feeling shitty, you should not go smoke. Like, I know that's the first thing you'll want to do. Go have a drink, go smoke, do something to take the edge off. But that's not how you should handle things, because it's just pushing things aside, and it doesn't really solve anything. I think it's best to handle your problems when you're sober, and then if you're in a good state of mind and everything's going fine, you have all your shit done, then maybe it's a good time to smoke. But it's not a good time to smoke when something bad happens. You know, it doesn't get rid of anything. It just pushes it aside. And with my experience, it's like I had a big, like, imagine a big, like, one problem, and then I smoke and it pushes it aside. It never gets fixed. And then eventually you just have a ton of problems that you haven't fixed. And they're just all stacked there. Like, you're just pushing them aside. And it gets harder to push them aside, it gets harder, it's more tiring. More of your energy is spent on thinking about them. think about your problems. And it's just a dangerous cycle you can get into with anything. It's not just weed. It's with any drugs. With fucking porn, video games, anything. Like if you're doing something to get away from your problems, then it just gets worse and worse and worse, and you get caught in this cycle where you're just pushing your problems aside, and that's not the way to go. So another reason I quit was because um jeez because I end up doing it too much. Like I'm spending too much money on it. I'm spending too much time on it. It's too much of an investment for little satisfaction. Like I never was really satisfied. I was always the person that like, oh, I could be higher right now. I was never satisfied with my high, which is a good sign or that's one of the signs that you should quit. Like in my opinion, is when you, or at least take a break, is when you're always not satisfied. You're not like you smoke like 5 bowls and you're really stoned, but like you're not satisfied. Like, oh, I want to get blitzed tonight. Like I want to get fucking out of this world. It becomes harder and harder each time you do that. You know, it doesn't. Your tolerance definitely builds up, and it gets harder and harder to reach that point, and that's how you end up smoking more and more and spending more money on it. Is your tolerance builds up. It's not that expensive to smoke if you're someone with a low tolerance, where you smoke a bowl and you're really fucking ripped. But with someone that like would have to smoke like 3 bowls or something like that, it's definitely costly. But another reason I decided to quit is because I've noticed my cognitive abilities have gone down kind of drastically. Like I can't retain information because I would always get stoned and watch like documentaries. I was kind of into that, learning things, but I would never be able to remember anything. Like I'd remember one thing from the documentary, and it'd be something retarded. It'd be something that was funny about it. It wouldn't be anything that I learned. And I've really noticed that in school. It hasn't really messed with my grades too much, but I've noticed that my ability to memorize things and to in my vocabulary has gone down. Like I can't, like I fumble my words sometimes. I know those are things that can be fixed by just not smoking, but temporarily my memory and my uh, my choice of words, I guess, fumbling words, stuff like that. Decision making has been kind of shitty too. I can't really attribute that to weed though, because I've always kind of been shitty at making decisions. But yeah, my cognitive abilities have definitely gone down. And what's another reason? Of course, it's illegal and it's hard to you're always paranoid. You're in that constant state of paranoia with the cops and with your parents, and it's not fun living like that. Like I would find myself thinking about that so much, just wasted energy on thinking about like, oh, I'm gone. Like if I was gone at school, I'd be like, oh shit, like is my dad gonna be searching my room today? Stuff like that. Yeah, that's pretty much the reasons I quit. Basically, just because I'm compulsive and I am addicted to weed, yeah, I am addicted to weed, I guess, or I was addicted to weed. And it's really hard to admit that, but once you do, it's easier to quit. But if you're like me, where you wake up and the first thing you want to do is get high, you should really consider that. You should really like think about it. Like, is this a problem? You know? And yeah, like when you're feeling like you want to be high for this, like you want to be high for that, like you can't just enjoy things being sober. I think that's a time where you should evaluate and consider that you might be addicted and that you might need to cut back or stop for a while. But it's all up to you guys. That's just a personal decision. That's just my advice because that's what I experienced. I kind of felt that. I could kind of sense it. I was like, oh shit. Like a couple months ago, I was like, wow, I might be a little bit hooked on this. Not hooked, but I might be a little bit I'm kind of dependent on this right now, and I kind of realized it. And ever since then, it's felt shittier and shittier to smoke. Like it's just felt like, oh, why am I doing this? Like that kind of thing. And um, yeah, I could really feel it. I don't know if other people have experienced that, but for me, it was definitely noticeable. All right, on to the next part of the video. So my first day of quitting was not that bad. I didn't really experience any physical withdrawal symptoms. Like a lot of people will say, like you'll lose sleep, your appetite won't be uh, fucked with. You know, you won't have an appetite. But I can't really say I experienced that, and I think I don't experience that because one, I do a lot during the day, so I come home and I sleep. Like it's always been like that. I've never needed weed to sleep because I'm pretty out there and I'm doing stuff all day. And then I've always loved food and I'm always hungry because I'm doing stuff all day and I do a lot of physical activities that require food. You know, it's not like I'm just like I just don't want it. Like I eating has always been something that I just did to fill me up. It's never been something I did to just enjoy. I mean, I do enjoy good food, of course, but it's been more of like, oh, I'm hungry, I should eat. It hasn't been like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's never been something that I did for enjoyment. So I know food is a lot better when you're stoned. I think everyone knows that. But yeah. And another thing is, when you're stoned all the time, you're not eating good. I mean, you might be. Like, I could eat good once in a while, I'd be eating good majority of the time. But there would be days where I would just get stoned and I would be so hungry and I would eat so much shitty food. Like I have a weak stomach and so I'd be shitting the next day would just be the shits. Like it would occupy my day. Just shitting. Like I would eat so much. I'd eat like 10 tacos and then I'd eat more and I'd just stuff myself crazy. And I'd eat a bunch of candy and stuff like that. Just stuff that tasted good. And that really wasn't good for me. Um, but yeah, the first day wasn't that bad. As far as emotional withdrawal symptoms, definitely can tell. I can definitely feel them. Like I've been really irritable today. I lost in ping pong. That really pissed me off, and I literally broke down in tears because I lost in ping pong. You know, and I got that urge like after I lost in ping pong because I used marijuana as an emotional safety net. After I lost, I was like, fuck, I need to smoke. But then I was like, fuck, I'm quitting. And it was just like one of those moments where you're just like, then I went on the internet and I was like, fuck, fuck, fuck. And I was pissed off. And then Reddit went load and I just broke down and started crying. And like, it was embarrassing. It didn't last long. You know, I realized, I was like, what the fuck am I doing? Like, why am I crying over this? You know, I got that. But yeah, I've definitely been a little irritable today. And I've been bored, like exceptionally bored. Just uh, I did go snowboarding today, so that was fun. But as far as like the last like 6 hours or so that I've been home, it's been just boring, like just doing nothing. Just kind of sitting around and just a lot of boring stuff. So yeah, I can definitely say that I had some emotional withdrawal symptoms, but I can't say physical. But on the bright side, I do feel a little more energetic. I feel a little more on point. And I watched a couple documentaries. I watched one on bears, which was awesome. I loved it. And then I watched one on dolphins. It was actually one about dolphins getting high off of puffer fishes. It was a weird It was a good documentary, but I thought that was fascinating. But I noticed that I could retain the information. Like I can remember most of the documentary right now, which is a great feeling. Like I enjoy that. I like being able to remember things and converse with people about them, tell people about things. I love that, and that's what I think smoking took away from me. But yeah, I've definitely felt more energetic. I haven't felt groggy, which is good. Uh, you know what I'm talking about if you've ever smoked before. Like the next day when you wake up and you just feel kind of buzzed and kind of just like off. Like you just couldn't you can't you can't really have a good intellectual conversation with people. Like you're just kind of like out of it, you know, you're a little out of it, your eyes are a little red. You're just kind of like, oh, fuck. You go to the gym and you can't do as much as you usually do. You can't lift what you normally can. Just that kind of feeling, like you just feel behind, I guess. It's a weird feeling that I don't like. I don't really like that. That mental fog. Or it's actually kind of like a physical fog too. Like you feel like, oh, you just kind of feel like dragged down a little bit. But um, yeah, that's about it, guys. If you guys notice anything with the audio or the video quality, just let me know and I'll try to fix it. And if there's anything you guys notice that I can fix at all, feedback is great, and I'll make sure to check it out and try to make improvements for you guys. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I hope this helped with you guys. If you guys are going through the same thing as me, feel free to drop a comment. I'm always willing to talk to you guys. You know, I know how it is going through this, and I know it's tough. So just if you guys want to talk or anything, drop a comment. You guys, any questions, drop a comment. Anything, drop a comment. All right, peace out, guys.